Hello, hello, hello. Here we are on Monday, June 26th. It is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we've got show episode number 8, sis. Episode 8 for Rise and Thrive Together. And I am so excited. Here we are. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm just going to give a big shout out to making sure that you guys have an opportunity to continue to watch this show live or on replay in our Facebook page, Rise and Thrive Together, and also on our YouTube channel, Rise and Thrive Together, on my personal Facebook page, Regina Rossi-Lamothe. We also are on Facebook pages that are by Laws of Life with Blanca Perper. I'm so excited about that. And we also do have an Instagram account, Rise and Thrive Together. Although we're not live there yet, please make sure you check us out there because we are constantly putting some amazing posts for you to be in conversation. So now let's get ready. I want to say hello, welcome, welcome, sis. Welcome, welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Hi, everyone. Hey, Reg. Hope you guys have a great start to your week. Super excited to be here as always and have this conversation. I'm going to be sipping on a little water because I'm a little thirsty tonight.
You go do
So,
that. Well, here we are at the end of June, and we are kind of not per se wrapping up, well, always, but we've been using these past like bunch of episodes when it's you and I on mindset. And before we go into that July whole new month, getting through the second half of the year, I want to have some fun with you tonight. You and I discussed this, and I'm excited when it comes to mindset inside of a couple of conversations. We've, went through a lot of different spaces. We've started talking about limiting beliefs and what that means. We've talked about what's some of our things that we've chatted about. We've talked about the blame game, right? And that taking responsibility in our actions. And I would definitely say one of the things that really has hit me is about our communication. I think the biggest part of our mindset is our communication because it first starts with what's quiet in our minds is our way of communicating because that's the first thing that's happening. If we sit back and we say, hey, what are you talking about, Regina? What do you mean that conversation, that communication that's going on in my mind? We're going to say, take a breath right now. Yeah, it's that one. That one that you're like, what are you talking about? What is she talking about? Why are we quiet right now? Like that little chatter in your head is communicating with you. That is part of who you are and has lots of information that sometimes is super helpful and supportive, and many times not as supportive as you may like. And we've shared a lot during this month. Rock likes to, really get what's out of her head out loud. So she'll walk
mm,
around and she'll speak about that and get it out there from inside of her, that energy out and into the air and into the ether where she can hear herself. I've talked about how I get that out in my mind a lot of times first on pen to paper and be able to then read that back and speak about that out loud. And then, of course, we always share about getting that whatever we're like talking about into dialogue, right? Getting out there, calling somebody that you may trust. But it really starts with yourself.
right.
So, what do you think? Is there anything I'm missing on? Anything you want to add on to there?
I do want to just throw in here, we definitely want to thank our listening audience. You guys are great when it comes to including your thoughts, your opinions into our conversations. And we actually really and truly do appreciate it. So, folks, we want you to keep that coming. Don't ever feel like, okay, I can't say something because that's that limiting belief, that's that voice that's trying to stop you. be brave, take the step, get it out in writing, and drop us some comments because we definitely will read it. Okay. So I just want to say thank you so much for your support. We've done a lot this month on mindset, and we don't want you to think that it's going to stop. Mindset is not going to stop. We're going to keep talking about it. But what we're trying to do is just start the ball and really and truly impress upon you that has a lot to do with the way you think. Right? Most people say, "Oh, well, let's change the behavior." How do I change a behavior without changing this? Right? And so
Yes.
when I hear people say, "Oh, you got to change the behavior," how do you change it first without changing the way you think about something in order to change your behavior? And I don't want to get super technical, but let me tell you, it's all about thinking. We are thinking, feeling, acting beings, bottom line.
Yep.
So if you guys disagree with the order, that's all right. That's on you. But we are thinking, feeling, acting beings. We should be. We don't always behave that way. And whenever we think last and we just feel and behave and then think, we often end up saying two words, I'm sorry.
Mm.
So we can have that conversation, but I guarantee you that's the same thing I'm going to stick to all day, every day, because it is true. We do have to send our emotions to school. And that's something that we mentioned earlier on in our episodes and our conversation on mindset, right? Regina and I gave you tips and techniques a while ago. We talked about journaling, and some of our audiences, they are into journaling, which I think is great. Like you said, I'm a talker. I'm going to talk to myself. And yes, I do journal, but I have to hear it here, and then I got to hear it here. So I'm one, I'll talk to myself quite often. Don't care whether it's on the street, in my house, in the car. I don't care where I am. Doesn't matter to me. I'm going to have a conversation. But those are my thoughts. I really and truly do want to thank our listening audience. I also want to bring to the forefront our amazing engineer, Kirill. We want to thank her so
Yes.
much for just being so supportive and helping us through this whole process. We appreciate you, Kirill. Thank you so much. I hope you feel better. She's got some allergies, like most of us probably do at this time of the year. So, Kirill, we hope you feel better, okay? But we want to thank you so much. Now, earlier, I want to say this week, but today's already Monday, so only Monday. So last week, Reg read something to me and it really spoke volumes to me. And it coincided with a situation that took place last week, which was absolutely amazing. And so I asked her to share it. And I'm going to turn it on over to Reg and let her share this amazing, I don't know, in my mind, it's like poetry. It just flows
Mm.
and absolutely love it. It really touched me, and I would love to hear your thoughts when she reads it. All right, sis, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you. This is how we do our show. We are constantly in communication with each other. And every time there's something that's on my heart, heavy in my heart, definitely heavy in my mind, I kind of just take a moment, I take a breath. And for fun, Raquel knows this. Yeah, people could say whatever they want to say about Facebook. But for me, Facebook is an opportunity to kind of like, it's like my magic 8 ball, right? It's like I get to speak to God. I do truly believe in that. And then I kind of say, I need an answer. Give me an answer. And because, hey, the type of work that I do, I'm on Facebook. I kind of put my intention out there to God, get connected, have a question, and then say, show me the way. And I got to
Mm,
open up my Facebook page because I was really struggling with some stuff around communication and how am I being heard and am I communicating like what I really authentically feel. And I had a beautiful friend of mine who made this public post, so I want to read it to you. And I had to call Raquel right away, and we got into an incredible conversation. So when it comes to communicating, and here's what this was stated on the Facebook page of my friend. I've been having a lot of difficult conversations lately, the kind that involve sharing and witnessing raw truths, bare vulnerabilities, and sometimes addressing things that carry high emotional charge.
mm,
I've been reminded time and time again of just how powerful not only our words are, but even more the energies behind them. that a hard truth spoken with love and care can land softly and often be more easily heard and received. That even the most trivial expressions can cut or cause harm when communicated with untamed anger or irritation fueling them. I truly believe that our communication with one another is the ultimate key to and the foundation of healthy relationships and is a craft worth mastering.
Hmm.
I've also come to realize that, as is always the case, how we communicate and relate with others is a direct expression of the inner conversations we have with ourselves. And so, with that, it is a reminder. It is a reminder that it carries an invitation to be mindful of what we speak to one another, that where we speak from, and even, sorry, I just lost that, and even what thoughts we invest our energy into. Let me say that again. It carries an invitation to be mindful of what we speak to one another
Hmm.
and where we speak from, and even what thoughts we invest our energy into. It is also a reminder to forgive generously and to give ourselves and each other grace in those moments where we will inevitably falter and cause hurt to one another as we learn and grow in this practice. If the pen is mightier than the sword, then I would dare to say that the tongue is mightier than the torch. May we use these powerful instruments to do good and spread love to the best of our ability. Much
Wow.
love. And that is from my
Wow.
dear friend, Chris Assad. And I got chills, right? Do you feel that? I got chills when I read that because I was really struggling myself with not feeling heard and really judgmental and was in a really not what I want to call fixed mindset. I was not empowered. And so,
Hmm.
what I usually do is get that on paper, but somebody wrote it for me. And I got to call Raquel right away. And when I read that to her, this is where we're going to take off from this moment on. So, I read it to her, and she was like, "Oh my God, I've got to tell you an experience that happened to me." So you heard that newly before we get into the story. What are some of the, I feel like that was like such a wrap up of just the surface of what we've gone through these past episodes. I mean, those are deep words where that's the work we do deeper when if you choose to work with us, right? Like that's a whole other thing. But we have touched base on many of the things that Chris wrote in that his beautiful, elegant way of saying, So tell me something that you heard before you get into that.
So I absolutely love that the tongue is mightier than the torch. And it's so true because we can speak life into something or someone, we can speak death into it. The power of life and death are in the tongue. You can build someone up when you speak, or you can tear them down. And the choice is up to us. So let me know when you want me to tell them the story, sis. But I love that last part.
I
That,
love it too.
yeah, it's so powerful because it's all about speaking. And what you're thinking, that's going to come out. Sometimes, though, let me tell you guys, some of the thoughts that we have, we need to terminate them before they become words that we speak either into someone's life or into our own life. Because sometimes not only can we tear other people down with our tongue and the words that we speak, we can tear ourselves down. And too many of us, and I mean too many of us, do that. And we think nothing of it, right? We'll say, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. And we think, okay, that's a normal thing. I'm stupid because I made a mistake. That's not it. You're not stupid at all. You did was make a mistake. And we need to get in the practice of not saying, I'm so stupid. I'm a jerk. I'm an idiot. Why must we tear ourselves down because we made a mistake? That's all we did. Doesn't make us stupid or jerks or anything else that we talk about that degrade us. So if that's how we speak to ourselves, my God, why is it that we can't speak to somebody the same way and break them down the same way we break our own selves down? We've got to start being mindful about what we say to us, because how we speak to ourselves determines how we speak to others.
I think one of
So,
the things that, that brings up, you and I've talked about, it's how our words create our reality, right? What comes out of our mouth. And that's, I think, one of the biggest things that, really hit me when I read this was, you know, we're unconscious, guys. We're
mm,
unconscious. We run our mouth. And that's me. That's Raquel. That's all of us. That is absolutely how we're wired as human beings. It's a default way of being. But what Raquel and I have chosen to commit to is to become conscious to
mm,
ourselves, to one another. So when he was saying the mastering of communication for healthy relationships is really like connecting to the words and the intentionality around that and the way we speak, we can say some raw, vulnerable, raw truths that can still come with love,
mm-hmm,
or we can come from that other space of when it's charged and it's fueled and, you know, right away it comes from some unknown limiting belief that we're not even aware of because she just said, well, that was stupid, Regina. They're just words that came out of her mouth. But for me, it triggered some limiting belief and could have caused something. So I really love all of that, that he's saying the art of communication, that healthy relationship starts with our own self awareness of what's going through our mind, and then the choices that we have that come out of our mouth and how to either forward a conversation
mm-hmm.
or will you allow that limiting belief, those old situations that you don't even might not even be aware that's there, have you then go into some whole other way. And Raquel is going to give you a perfect example of how all of this ties into what I just said. So please come, sis, and share your story.
Wow. So it's not ironic and it's not a coincidence. The day that Reg read that to me and earlier that day what I went through, which nothing bad, I'll tell you about it. So I was in a group, went to a group meeting with women. It was a women's group that I went to, first time that I'm there. And when I walked into the room, I was the only Black person in the room. And those that know me and those that don't, you'll know me now. I don't care about that stuff. I absolutely don't care who I'm in a room with, doesn't matter. The only colors that scare me when people are those colors are blue, gray, and purple, because you're either choking or you are dead. And I just don't do that. I did not get that training. I am not a nurse. However, could care less any other color that's in the room. So the conversation and the topic of conversation was boundaries and setting boundaries. I'm all for that. Thought it was great. Conversation goes on and it kind of takes a slight shift. And I'm okay with it. One participant was very interested and always wanted to have black female friend, a black female friend. Now, in my mind, I'm not thinking, oh my gosh, how could she say that? That's only comedians make fun of that, where, people just want one friend of a certain color. None of that. What I found was here's a teachable moment, and not about black and white, but just about being authentic and genuine in how we perceive others. So when she said that, I found it very interesting. And then I said to her, well, let's have this conversation. How about instead of having just always having a black female friend, Why not befriend someone authentically and genuinely because you're interested in getting to know them versus wanting them to be in your circle because of the color of their skin? Now, I love the fact that it was a free space to have that conversation. I said, think of it this way. You're in a room full of people, and they're white people, and you're pushing your way through because you see one black person on the other side of the room, and you're going to push your way through to get to that one person. You get there and you're like, hi, I'm so and so being a black woman, because that's who she wants to meet, is probably wondering, well, why did you push everybody else out the way and come to me? Now, she did meet a black woman and they exchanged numbers. And she said, but I gave her my number and she never. Why does she have to be the one to call? Why didn't you choose to call? Now, when I mentioned that about authentically and genuinely wanting to get to know someone, there was another woman who was like, well, they don't, I don't know who they is, and I'm not assuming. But, people are in cliques and they don't like to talk to this, and these people don't like to talk to them. And yeah, but why are we always waiting for someone to talk to us? Why is it that we can't initiate or a conversation with someone else? Why are we always waiting? What's so special about us that people have to come to us? And when I say us, I mean us as people. Please do not misconstrue what I'm saying. So after educating that woman, she proceeded then to tell me, well, she wants to be friends with a black woman because black women are so sassy and snazzy in the way they dress, and she just loves it. And I'm like, oh, that's really not then who you want to go shopping with. And that's not the purpose. So I could have gone when Regina read that poem by Chris. I was like, that's his name, right, Chris? Okay, great. When she read that, I was like, oh my gosh, I could have totally gone left with my response. And instead of responding, I could have reacted to what she said. But there was no need. There was a need for a teachable moment so that she understands it's not about the color of someone's skin that you befriend them. It's actually genuinely on and authentically just wanting to know and meet and be around that person. Don't see skin color, see the person. Now, when she can get past the color, maybe she will then put out the energy of attracting someone that she wants to be friends with. But if she's solely sold on just the color of the skin, I can tell you right now, people can see through the BS. Some people. So after that conversation, it was really good. I didn't feel any stress or tension in the room because we were all adults and we could have that conversation, and it needed to be had. And it needed to be had in that first session for me. Now, that was not the first session of the group, it was just the first session that I was in. And I thought it went really well. I didn't tear her down, I didn't get angry. Instead, I thought of it as a teachable moment. Now, let me tell y'all, if this was a couple years ago, I'd have got her right. I'd have been like, let me tell you something, miss. Okay. But I didn't. And then one person, I have to say this, one person in the group then wanted to add her commentary to it. And she used the word prejudice. And I made sure to say, I didn't say anything about prejudice. She said, no, I know. I'm just saying it, but you didn't. Okay. I'm not saying it's a prejudice. I never even thought that. Immediately, I just thought about let's educate. Let's make her stronger than she came in so that she's got some knowledge that it's not about this. It's about wanting to get to know someone, because if you're just with a person for what they have, who they are, they can tell. There's only but so much you can disguise and hide. Be genuinely interested in getting to know the person, not this. Okay, does that make sense? So when Regina read Chris's poetry to me, that's how I saw that. I was like, this is awesome because it is about communication. It is about the way we're thinking. And as I said, that could have gone left years ago, but now I'm different. And it's not about going based on my emotions solely, but it's about hearing and let's just educate. I hear what she says, but is that what she really means? Or does she just want somebody that will tell her the truth? Because when she said, I want somebody who's going to go shopping and tell me if an outfit doesn't look good, that means you don't have that in your life right now. And that's a different conversation. Okay. But sis, thank you for
Love
letting me
that.
share that. But guess what? I'm going back to that group next month because I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I think one of the things that really was that you didn't get to share with the audience was, just a lot of the feedback, right? Because when
Oh,
I was listening
yes.
to the story, when I was listening to the story, I can tell, I'm in the emotional part, getting triggered, out to defend. What does me making up in my own mindset, you know, like I didn't say the word prejudice, but I'm clear you and I spoke about it on the phone that I was like, that woman was being prejudiced. But that's me making up my own stuff what I'm getting triggered about, right? About something that I didn't know. And I had to just breathe and allow you to have the communication. The art of communication is also in the art of the listener. Raquel and I know each other really well. We have grown a lot, and, she loves to talk. I love to talk. One of the things most people do when you have two talkers is you could have a strong non listening. But what we have worked really hard at individually and why we chose to be partners together is that we have this way of listening. It's why we chose to do this show, why we say what we say, and we have mad love to know there is an interruption, not because there's anything wrong or anybody did anything wrong. It is to forward the conversation, to
Mhm.
keep what's going moving along. And so it was just such a beautiful way to have her be able to, get this incredible feedback. And I will again say, for me, the hard truth spoken with love and care she gave. And it landed softly and often was able to be heard and received. And so
Mhm.
many of those women heard and received it and spoke with Raquel afterward and asked her, "You're coming back, right?" And want her to come back and speak. And that woman got to, hear that as well, and that the communication came from a foundation of a healthy relationship she has with herself and
Mhm.
knowing who she is as a woman, as a speaker, as an educator, as a human being. She listens and feels the room and is out. Why we created this show, we're out to educate, equip, and empower you to have the best life that you can with yourself, and of course the best with any and every person, no matter where you are. If it's going out into the street and you're driving in your car, to walking into a room and it could have
Mhm.
been a whole conversation around color,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. So I know this is a lot, guys, that we're throwing at you. And we just want to thank you so much. Odelia, thank you for saying hi. We are excited to get your feedback. We are
Hi,
excited.
Adelia.
Hey, Sharon. Sharon
Hi,
loves it.
Sharon.
We will come back to this. We promise. We promise. We promise.
But it was just, it's so incredible. And when you are making a choice to think differently, feel differently, and behave differently, everyone sees it. But I do want to say this really quickly. I want to include, not an excuse, this is just an aside. That lady was married for 62 years to the love of her life and lost her husband a month ago. And everyone offered condolences in the group. And then I said to her, I said, I just want to applaud you and commend you because you could have stayed home and hid, but you got up, got dressed, came to this group. And that needs to be applauded. And I commend you for putting you first. She needed to hear that. Okay. So Ladies and gentlemen, we always love being here with you. Please remember to tell a friend, follow us. And if you are interested in sponsoring our show, Rise and Thrive Together, please hit us up at our email, info@Rise and Thrive Together. And I want you always to remember, together we can rise and thrive. Till next time.